Hello, everyone, and welcome to Vampire the Masquerade Reckoning of New York. So, again, this is something that I don't know too much about. I actually just so happened to come across it when I was on YouTube and I saw that it kind of popped up in my feed, at least the demo playthrough popped up in my feed. But this is also a part of the World of Darkness franchise, and this is, of course, the vampire side of things as opposed to the wolf side of things that I was playing. This is actually the continuation of the last two chapters of the Vampire the Masquerade New York series, which includes Coteries of New York and Shadows of New York. Now, I've played Coteries of New York. It was not my favorite. It was very linear. The story was okay. Seems like a lot of introductory things, a lot of mysterious type things, but wasn't my cup of tea. So yeah, didn't really care for it too much, and it was also really short. I think I beat it in like maybe a couple hours. And then of course playing the other playthroughs, and because I do remember there were 3 characters, I think, but yeah, wasn't a whole lot of variation in the playthroughs and such. So yeah, I wasn't really a fan of that. Shadows of New York, however, was very interesting. I did not finish that one, but I did play a little bit of it on stream, and of course I played some in my spare time. I think I got about maybe halfway through it. The type of vampire you were playing was very interesting because from what I remember, you played as the La Sombra, and the La Sombra are very interesting in the whole Vampire the Masquerade lore. So, you know, intriguing to play as one of the more obscure vampires, I guess you could say, as far as what I'm normally used to seeing from the vampire series or whatnot. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. And then of course it had some callbacks from the first game also. This one is supposed to wrap the series up. I don't know who you're playing as in this one. I do think you have different characters you can play as opposed to the last game where you played as just one particular character. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. This is the demo for this game, so of course I expect this to be very short, but let's jump into it and see how this goes, shall we? So yeah, these are the 2 characters you can play as. Callie Ravenos? Is her last name Ravenos, or is she just she's Ravenos? Anyway, my sire's gone AWOL and I've got no clue why. It sucks, but hey, I'm a raven. When things get dicey, I go with my gut. And right now, it's telling me to just keep searching. It hasn't let me down so far, and it won't start now. Right? Yeah, question mark, right? Oh, okay. So, So this is more like how it is on the wolf side of things, where you actually do have to do some editing as far as your skills go. Now, I wonder if the Ravenos thing is going to be kind of static. You have to choose that when the actual full game comes out, but you know, we'll see. Obfuscate? Obfuscate is a power that allows the kindred to hide easily, move without being noticed, and cast illusions. Okay. Animalism. Animalism allows kindred to communicate with, control, or feed more efficiently on animals. Presence. Presence embodies kindred ability to influence a social scene as flawlessly as they do their hunting ground. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna put 1 in obfuscate and 1 in presence. Yeah, I think I'll go with that. Oh, well, yeah, that's all you can do. So yeah. Hunger is on, hunter threat is on. Struggle against your inner beast by adding extra cost and risk to disciplines. Hunter threat, the hunters are watching your every move. Play it safe or risk getting ambushed on detours. Interesting. So yeah, that was a thing that happened. Well, this wasn't a thing from what I remember in the last game, but you did have to manage your hunger. That's always been a present thing. And if you let your hunger get too far, or at least get too high, then you would be forced to, you know, get some blood from somewhere. And usually it will put you in a situation where whoever you ended up talking to, you were just gonna have to take their blood. And I think in most cases you ended up killing those folks as opposed to just kind of getting some blood and then going on about your way. So yeah, I'll go ahead and keep both of these on. You know, it's a demo, so how bad could it be? Ha 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 ha. Night 1, the beginning. Press any button to continue. Hello. Oh, you look pissed. December 2024, 7 nights till New Year. D'Angelo's bureau, if you can even call it that, feels more like a rough draft of an asteroid belt. Suggesting it's shabby almost gives it too much credit, as if there is some hidden allure to the mess, which there definitely isn't. His head is cocked thoughtfully, beady eyes piercing me right through. Does this acute interest stem from the matter I brought in, or does he simply enjoy watching me wriggling in this wretched chair? I'd ask, but underneath the repulsive mask of his face, I notice something that looks a lot like fear, a detail I pocket for later. A strong synthetic odor taints the still air. The world is moving forward, but this crap reeks worse than your average smoke. And the way he squashes those mini cigs in the ashtray, it's clear D'Angelo's struggling to shake off old habits. Not that I'm one to throw stones, but he's quite the character. Useful, but infuriating too at times. Like right now, for example. Oh yeah, you are definitely a sight for sore eyes. Let me just get this straight. You lost your sire, eh? Am I speaking in riddles? Patience, Callie. No, I didn't lose him. He just chose to be a no-show. Which doesn't happen all that often, I take it. Not without telling me it doesn't. Reynard Cassell has a knack for vanishing, though. Maybe he had to make himself scarce. Skip town? I feel like this name is familiar. I feel like he was one of the characters from the first game. He'd have left me a clue for sure. You still relying on those wall tags? The hobo code or whatnot? Little Chandler here has totally been killing it lately. I mean, I might have casually mentioned the code once or twice, but nothing major. Well, alright. Maybe I showed him a symbol, one that's pretty much useless on its own. If Reynard catches wind of me spilling the beans, he's gonna flip. He's like Fort Knox when it comes to our secrets. We do, and I found absolutely zilch. Which doesn't happen, by the way. We never bail on each other when we split up for stuff like this. It's just too dangerous. I wonder if she's referring to the guy who he was like the head of the Bruja in the first game. Is that something that we can see? Bruja. Yeah, I was more so looking for the particular character. Yeah, I guess not. But okay. Oh, characters, there we are. Oh, Callie. Drifting through life from one rave to another and scamming people for a living. Callie was a Ravenos through and through long before catching the eye of Reynard Cassell. Seeing her as a potential asset, he promptly embraced her almost 2 years ago. Her unique insight into human nature and access to secure dark web trading channels have been a great boon to her coterie. As the logistics expert, she ensures the merchandise, no matter how shady, ends up in the right hands. However, with her sire's mysterious disappearance, unique insight or not, Callie will have to learn how to swim in entirely uncharted waters instead of just drifting through and hoping for Lady Luck's smile. So yeah, I do wonder if she comes up in either the last game or the first one. Okay. He doesn't need to know. Why is he snooping around so much? Yeah, why are you snooping around so much? Feels like I'm on trial here. You literally asked me to conduct this investigation. What do you expect me to do? Pull an answer out of my ass? I really don't want to know what he could pull out of his ass, and I intend to tell him as much, but he speaks first. Besides, I already know your spot. Coney Island, right? I feel my eyelid twitch. You're bluffing. I was, but your reaction spilled the whole story. Maybe dropping by D'Angelo's wasn't such a great plan, or maybe he's not as useless as I assumed. but he's definitely got me on edge. Prick your ears. What's that? Ignore it. What's that? What's with the mumbling? He glances at me, genuinely confused. What mumbling? You know what? Never mind. So you made your way to Coney Island, but came up empty-handed. No cassell, no trail to follow, anything noteworthy at all? Just your typical shady assholes loitering around, clearly up to something. Pretty standard for New York City, as far as I'm aware. Shady assholes? Who, Kindred? Regular folk. All twitchy all twitchy and restless. If it wasn't so passe, I'd bet they were gonna pull off a flash mob. A look of confusion flashes across his face. Flash mob? The hell's a flash mob? What flash mob? We stare at each other for a while, I smugly, and he utterly perplexed. I savor the moment, waiting for him to break the silence, but when he finally speaks, it's not at all what I was expecting to hear. To be frank, Callie, I'm running short on answers. Your sire seems just temporarily unavailable, or gone for good, or something else. Can't say I'm entirely shocked. He tries to stroll around nonchalantly, but the mess in his bureau just as nonchalantly throws him off balance. It completely ruins his noir vibe, so I shoot him a cheeky grin, but he's too caught up to even notice. Breaking character must have rattled him good. If I were you, I'd take a leaf out of his book and disappear, pronto. In fact, that's exactly what I intend to do once I'm through with my business in the city. I unpocket the fear I observed a moment ago and give D'Angelo another good, lasting look. He's genuinely terrified, like seriously scared, but there's this hint of desperation too. I've got to tame my inner con artist. She's practically salivating in my head, just waiting to join in. But when things go south, D'Angelo's the buddy you stick with, not somebody you ditch and forget. Gianni, seriously, what's up? I'm kind of freaking out here. There are too many loose ends to stitch together a complete tale, and frankly, it's too lengthy for just one night anyway. But there's a storm gathering in the city. I've been through some rough patches, but this feels like a whole different kind of trouble. Cut the cryptic shit just for once. He looks over my shoulder, lost in thought, like he's figuring out how to drop an anchor on someone who's already drowning. Our kind has been dropping like flies lately. Nobody seems to be a specific target, but it's hitting mostly Dustborn. Is that the Thin Blood people? Yep, Thin Bloods. Neither entirely vampire nor mortal, the ever-changing nature of the Dustborn evokes pity, jealousy, and fear in equal measure. Considered little more than trash by most vampires, the Thin Bloods are banding together, leveraging their resistance to sunlight and the strange mercurial adaptability of their powers against their oppressors. Monikers: Dustborn, Mercurians, the Young Ones, Runoff, Chameleons, Abortions. Good lord. Huh. So I wonder if this is like a byproduct of the original story for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, because I was following it even though I didn't play the first one, but I do know originally you were supposed to play a Thin Blood, and that was going to be the explanation for, you know, using all the different powers and stuff like that. It went through development hell for years, and now we're at the point now where I think the Chinese room is now producing the game. I forgot who was doing it originally, someone in Paradox. But yeah, now the Chinese room is doing it, if I'm not mistaken. They're known for, of course, Amnesia, the Machine for Pigs, A Machine for Pigs. And I think everybody's going to the Rapture, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, the story is no longer that you're a Thin Blood. It's that you're a, what's the name for it? You're a very powerful vampire. That's what I do know. It's like you've been asleep for quite some time. But yeah, you're like basically a vampire lord. But you've been asleep for a very long time, and that's supposed to justify you being a little bit weaker starting off and then having to build your powers up. So So yeah, I wonder if because this game may have already been in development and they already had a story for it, that's the reason why the focus was more on the thin bloods. Because that was the thing in the last game, was that there was a whole bunch of someone was making a lot of thin bloods and so on and so forth, and then now we ended up with that situation. Anywho, I've been rambling so much, so. The court dubs it the culling of thin bloods. Real knee slapper they've got, those sons of guns. But there's been other victims too. A chill runs down my dead spine. Infighting or an external threat? Are the sects seriously at each other's throats that hard? Same old song and dance, right? But this time there's a curveball, enough to make them halt the hostilities, and you know what? I'll fill you in while we hit the road. The urge to flee slams into me like a freight train. There's something about his tone that almost convinces me to hightail it out of the city, but it's not quite time to make a break for it. I might stick around for a while, so D'Angelo's visibly concerned. Should I be worried too? You really not gonna let him go, huh? Of course not. I'll find Reynard, come hell or high water. Besides, someone has to handle detective duty, since judging by how desperately you want me to drive you out of town, damsel in distress is already taken. D'Angelo tilts his head downward just enough to fix his crooked smile, a smile abandoned by joy long ago. I know you well enough to not even bother trying to change your mind, but you have a knack for diving headfirst into trouble, so hear me out. Keep your head down, stay off the radar, don't feed willy-nilly, and above all, don't reveal your true nature unless you're 100% sure nobody can see you. So, the Masquerade, basically. Yeah, the vampire rules. I'm not joking, Callie. Keep low, or else. Yeah, thanks for the tip. I rise to my feet and wave goodbye as I head out of the door. I'll grab you once I've found Reynard. On my own, since you've been such a big help. It takes me a while to actually notice the air around me, crisp and clear, without the ever-present stench of D'Angelo's nicotine habit. I find it's taking me longer each time to catch on. When will I reach the point where I don't even notice it anymore? Reynard's silence and the total lack of hints about his whereabouts bug me way more than I'm ready to say out loud. The streets are deserted. It's like everyone vanished, scared off by the winter chill that mortals seem to hate. The darkness of the night, lit up by bursts of color. It's kind of beautiful in a bleak urban way. Hey, I like the darkness. I also like winter. But my sire is gone and I don't know what to do. Back at D'Angelo's, I was all talk, swearing that I'd track down Reynard myself or burn up trying. Pretty sure he saw right through my BS. Were I half as confident as I pretended, I wouldn't feel so utterly lost. In late December, in the big fucking dangerous apple of all places. If D'Angelo's warnings have any weight, maybe it's time to bulk up our supplies. Our coterie. Let's just say we're big on being ready for anything. Reynard's the mastermind behind all of our safety nets, making sure we don't even brush close to failure. His obsessive preparedness has pulled us out of the fire more than once. Wherever we're running out our gigs, we've got these spots stocked up with goods and let's call it personal protection. One of those hidden caches lies just around the block if I remember right. It's been ages, but that's probably the first place I should hit up before I go hunting for Reynard. Better safe than in a grave, right? I mean, as a vampire, wouldn't it be kind of standard affair? Okay, so we have 3 options here. Precautionary measures. Survival is the game we all play, or so Reynard always told our coterie. That's why we've stashed supply caches all over, with the closest one near Washington Cemetery. If D'Angelo's warnings hold water, grabbing some supplies might actually come in handy. It could also be a trap though, because somebody might have already identified that, but this is probably where I'll end up going first. Square one, Coney Island. The rundown parking lot where I stashed my RV seemed deserted enough to keep away prying eyes. I should head back to Coney Island and see if Renner showed up while I was away. Or maybe he left one of our signature wall signs cluing me in on what to do next. Square one, the RV. Sure, my RV is a fortress on wheels and all, but I better move it before it starts drawing too much attention. And if anything happens to our stash, well, I'd rather not dwell on that, unless I want dodging Renner to become my main focus instead of figuring out where he vanished. Okay. So I think I'll do this one first, and then then maybe I'll do this one. So great. Just fucking great. Looking over the wreckage of what used to be my secret stash, I can't stop the flood of swears that could probably rouse Kane himself from his eternal rest. Whoever the hell found out, they cleared it out completely. They didn't even have the courtesy to leave a "my bad for the raid" note. It wasn't a treasure trove or anything, just an old combat knife, a bulletless revolver, and some jewelry I was planning to pawn off for far less than what they're worth. I get why they'd take that stuff, but seriously, what's anyone gonna do with a cooler full of expired blood bags? Could this have been the work of one of our kin? After what D'Angelo said, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. Fuck. Whoever they are, they better hope I don't find them first. Stepping back into the streets, the harsh reality hits me. My gear is history, and no amount of playing is going to magically bring it back. Believe me, I tried. But then again, maybe I'm just being paranoid. D'Angelo has a thing for urban legends and slapping conspiracy theories onto pretty much anything. Why should this time be any different? It's Christmas after all. Around these parts, looting is practically a holiday tradition. As I'm coming to terms with my situation and thinking about what to do next, I get that weird feeling. It's like my inner alarm system is giving me a nudge, telling me something's off. A quick look behind me confirms it. Yep, I've got followers, and not just one, but two. Finally, I'm hitting my social media milestones. My gut tells me to move faster, and I find myself darting into a barely lit alleyway, disappearing into the shadows. I press myself against the cold bricks and wait. That's when I catch it. A high-pitched voice, filled with endless babble. Her words cut through the air, harsh and acidic. She's talking about me, and it's far from flattering. It was her, the freak draped in all that drab gray. I effing told you. Drab gray? Who the hell does she think she is? I need to get a look at them. Girl, we come back empty-handed for the third time, and we're fucking cooked. Oh, fuck her and her cheap-ass forest ranger getup. The nerve to diss my look. Why are they even after me anyway? The one making all the noise is fidgeting non-stop, like a squirrel high on candy, muttering something I can't make out. It's clear planning impromptu actions isn't her strong suits. The other one seems timid, obviously wishing she was anywhere but here. Don't scare the shit out of them. Let's say, wait a little longer, walk away undetected. I think I'm gonna do walk away undetected. While I would like to scare the shit out of them, that doesn't really address the issue. This doesn't really address it either, but at least I can kind of get away. They seem to be kind of in their own fucking mess right now. Enough is enough. I'm out of here. When the shadows envelop me, it feels like slipping into another layer of myself, cool and weirdly comforting, whispering ancient mysteries that seem meant just for my ears. It makes me feel invincible, like a stealthy panther lurking unseen in dense undergrowth, gliding silently through the serene, alert darkness. As I walk past both girls, I catch a glimpse of a two-way radio and a revolver, my revolver, tucked under the loudmouth's jacket. She's the embodiment of every mean girl stereotype, but armed and dangerous. Mostly to herself. In the end, I leave them both be. They weren't exactly a threat, but damn. It turns out D'Angelo wasn't just blowing smoke up my ass. But none of that alters my goal. Finding Reynard remains a top priority. I could go back to Coney Island and see if he turned up while I was gone. The possibility of berating him for thoughtlessness cracks me up, if only a little. And yeah, I've got to move the RV before it draws too much attention, before some busybody develops an unwanted interest in it. But there's no point in driving it to Coney Island where I can take the subway. So what to do first? Okay. Yeah, plus I kind of felt that if I turned around and attacked the old girl, then that would have got the hunters looking at me, and don't want that. Let's see. So wills, and if anything happens to our stash, well, I'd rather not dwell on that unless I want. So yeah, let's go with this one. If anything happens to our stash, Reynard's going to skin me when he shows up. I happen to like my skin, had it for as long as I can remember. Plus, it's not like he's facing his final death or anything, I think. New York really lives up to its rep as the city that never sleeps. People keep walking past, oblivious to the intensity of my gaze. The blood slowly coursing through their veins just beneath the surface of their skin tempts me in ways I cannot describe. I force myself to look away, not for the dregs of my own mortality, nor because I feel any grand respect for them. It's simpler than that. Too many eyes, too much risk. My coterie's unspoken credo. As I approach the ruined parking lot where I've stashed my RV, I freeze. Shit, there's already a crowd milling around. 2, no, 3 of them. Maybe mortal, but kindred or ghouls are much more likely. Because what random thieves suddenly got their hands itchy for an RV as old as mine? No, they must be Camarilla types, given where we are. I can feel my vitae starting to boil, but I play it cool. What's their interest in my RV? How they even find it? And more importantly, how do I get them to leave? Let's see. Chemistry? I'll give them something to chase. Silence of death. Now they hear me. I don't know how many of these I have to use. But this appears to be 1, and that appears to be 2. So... Well, I used 1 the first time. Maybe I can use 2 now. No, I'll stick with this. In a blink, the drifting snowflake seems deafening next to my gate. The kindred don't see me, can't detect hint of my movement as I approach my RV. Seeing it like this shatters the remnants of my heart. They've wrecked it, digging through hidden compartments, flipping through confidential documents that won't reveal anything to them, spilling my meticulously stored blood, and tossing my sparse furnishings onto the pavement. My home violated, ruined, done. I hang back until they're all outside, huddled together over some undoubtedly crucial matter. Barely containing the wrath simmering just under my cold, undead skin, I force myself to calm down. I'll sneak into the driver's seat before my illusions fade away. Speeding off right under their noses is bold, maybe even a bit stupid, but, well, I follow my gut like I always do. It rarely fails me, but when it does, oh boy. I mean, I'm a Ravenos, right? The first idea that pops into my head is typically the winner. Ravenos, masters of misdirections. The Ravenos prefer not to fight or bleed for something they can obtain through subtler means. They can charm and vanish within the same mortal breath. Those once fooled quickly learn to question their very senses when in the company of ravens. Always on the move, the Ravenos can never rest in the same place for long, lest their curse light them on fire as they slumber. Dog. Rogues, ravens, daredevils, the haunted. Huh. Don't think I've ever heard of the Ravenos. Just as I'm about to make my move towards the RV, I spot her. Actually, scratch that. It's my skin that reacts first, every hair standing on end as if electrocuted. An alarm blares in my head, screaming danger. Only then do I see her stepping smoothly out of the shadows, gait relaxed, and yet somehow predatory. Leaving so soon, sugar? I have no idea who she is, and I'm normally spot on at identifying those who'd prefer me finally dead. It's handy in my line of business. Yep, duty calls. And by duty, I mean you can fuck right off. She doesn't even blink at my quip and just keeps inching closer. I feel an urge to step back, but a quick side eye informs me that the prowling kindred have returned and are standing right behind me. Am I a criminal now? What is this, your prince's parking spot or something? Because you know this hardly looks like your domain. You're dressed a bit too fancy for these parts, lady. Her smile stretches wider, but it's devoid of any real humor or warmth. She only steps away now, and I'm effectively trapped. Parking's hardly the concern. I'd hope you're not naive enough to think so. No, it's your extracurricular activities that have raised a few eyebrows. Somebody has been very naughty indeed. Extracurricular activities? You've lost me there. Oh, how she jests. I'm not going to run down the entire list of the council's accusations, but incidentally, that is where I'm taking you right now. Who the hell are you, even? I'm Valerie Duvall, sugar, the Scourge of New York. I think I remember her. She might have been in the first game. Because I want to say she's Torador, but I can't remember. You can either accompany me without a fuss, or, well, let's just leave it at that first option. It's decidedly in your best interest. She gestures to one of the kindred behind me, who brandishes a hefty, sharpened stake. My throat tightens involuntarily. What the fuck does the council want with me? Our coteries business isn't all that against their precious traditions, is it? Thanks for the fake choice. Oh, it's my move, ain't it? Because from my viewpoint, all roads seem to end at the tip of that stake. Said tip jabs painfully against my back, right where my heart would be beating madly if it wasn't all shriveled up. Case in point. The council will undoubtedly release you following a meticulous inquiry. Of course, this is your final chance. All right, Jesus, I'll fucking go with you. Valerie tosses me a so-called smile, the sort that could turn the sun into ice. Good girl. Now come, the council is waiting. Great. Judgment at the Elysium. Now I'm being slammed with accusations of off-book blood trading and hauled to Elysium for interrogation. What the fuck? There's no way I'm playing along. Well, maybe I am, seeing as I'm about to go fang to fang with the creme de la creme of New York's ivory tower. Fun times. So, this is their joint, the Art Hole. Seriously, could they have picked a more pretentious spot? The ivory tower splinter has wedged itself right in the middle of New York City's swankiest row. Welcome to the steel heart of the Camarilla's intricate machinations. Here's where the local kindred clink their glasses, all the while plotting each other's demise. Unless, of course, you are a pariah like me, an outcast from a wrong clan with a knack for stirring up trouble, in which case you're screwed from the get-go. Honestly, I preferred not knowing how posh it is. Places like this don't exactly roll out the red carpet for someone who deals with my kind of stuff. But since I've got no immediate escape plans, might as well play along. I'd happily shit on it on principle, but gotta admit, it seems pretty low-key on the outside, not counting the two chuckling goons who clearly missed the memo on blending with the crowd. And on that note, is there a giggle-worthy revelation you'd care to share with me, Birdie? Your demeanor hints at a job well done, does it not? That awkward freeze frame those two are stuck in would be comedy gold if I wasn't knee deep in my own mess. I don't know if I remember you from one of the games. Yeah, Miss Duval, sir. I mean, not really anything too wild, you know. Just like the usual stuff we're seeing, I guess. Does this usual stuff include dubious characters within a mile's reach of Elysium? Groups for which you were specifically instructed to watch out? 3 of them, to be exact, if my count holds true. Let her cook. 3 plus 5 equals a bazillion. Wait, I've seen that before. I'll let her cook. I mean, I apologize. We really should have. Yes, you really should have. Boy, that shot through him like an icy bullet. I wasn't exactly cozy myself, but that poor soul had probably just shed the last ounce of warmth left in him. Return to your duties at once. I'll be expecting a detailed report within the next hour. Yes, Mr. Vaughn, sir. Is that Mr. Duvall or is that okay? He waddles off like a scolded kid and his pal refuses to meet our eyes. I throw Valerie a look of unwilling respect. She obviously holds some serious clout in these parts. Come now, dragging your feet earns you no favors. And believe me, you could use a few. Is that an offer, Miss Duvall? Her smile serves as enough of a silent veto to make it clear that prying any further is futile. Not exactly a good sign. She swings the door open, but there's no warm invitation in the gesture. The place doesn't quite live up to the posh art gallery image in my mind. Sure, there's a hint of what could be Basquiat on the walls, but mostly of the art in either shoved aside or covered up. Search for escape routes. My instinct shifts into overdrive. First up, quick room survey. No vents, no fancy chandeliers daring me to escape, and definitely no clear exits, especially not through those reinforced windows. Trying to pull off a Chris Angel style stunt might likely start with a bang and end up with a head on the chopping block. Wonder whatever happened to Chris Angel. Step 2 practically unfolds on its own. The room's a powder keg of Kendrick in the middle of an intense debate. The tension is palpable, suspicion dialed up to 11. That's when their voices finally break through the walls of my focus. Wouldn't have such an issue if we had taken action when the signs were so glaringly obvious. Are you the sheriff from the previous games? That long-haired hunk must be Kadir Al-Azmi, the Camarilla sheriff. Yep. I've had my fill of stories about him, but now I can put a face to the reputation. If only the rest of us were blessed with your profound gift of foresight, Sheriff, unlife would be a walk in the park. Allow me to emphasize, our risks aren't limited to a single front. Acting on a gut feeling might work wonders in a motion picture. Here in the real world, it's a different story. This one's a mystery to me, but the way he's navigating the conversation, he's clearly a heavyweight in these parts. Spare me the pretense of ignorance, Arturo. The pattern was unmistakable well over a month ago. Now, Arturo. Thomas Arturo? Shit, Raynard explicitly told me to steer clear of this guy's mess. The bickering rages on, and Valerie doesn't seem eager to reveal her catch, aka yours truly. Your playful decision to allow the Thin Bloods to appoint Larson as their primogen raises his final death to a level that can't be casually swept under the rug, Helene. Thin-blooded or not, it throws into question our grip on the situation. I don't remember her. That gothed out Ally McBeal, definitely Asling Sturbridge, the Tremere Regent. Yeah, I don't remember her, but I do notice that some of the art is pretty different because I do remember Arturo. I don't remember him looking like vampire Benedict Cumberbatch, but I do remember him. I've been curious if Raynard's operation extends into the local chantry, but he was, as always, tight-lipped about his private affairs. Don't know you either. What would you have me do then? Unleash our dear sheriff without adequate reconnaissance, just in the name of haste? We can't overlook his excessive efficiency in the last skirmish, can we? Does the prospect of a masquerade breach give you pause? Behold the queen bee herself, Helene Panhard, the reigning prince of Sticks Up the Ass. Okay, I think I do remember her now. I figure we're all fond of keeping things the way they are, but there's times to just sit back and think, and then there's times when you gotta step up and do something bold. This feels like it's time to make a move. An anarch championing chaos, a revelation that somehow fails to astonish, oh esteemed Baron of the Bronx. An anarch baron inside Elysium. Now that's a plot twist. What's the deal here? As I continue to look around and another figure catches my eye, a young-looking woman, entirely decked out in black, casually playing with a cigarette. She shoots me a brief glance, clearly picking up on my curiosity. And who are you? You look like Rupert Murdoch or something. Which is pretty fair, considering he's a terrible person. That ancient fart in a wheelchair, whispering to his servant. Who's that? Right as he's about to chime in, some lanky guy I totally missed till now decides to butt in. He's the other character you can play. Huh. My apologies for interrupting, Mr. Payne, but it appears Miss Duvall has brought forth the issue you mentioned earlier. It might be wise to ensure she is not exposed to unnecessary information. How did I overlook this guy? He's all limbs and quirks, playing with some odd ring on his finger. He sticks out in this upscale bunch like a sore thumb. Is my mojo on vacation or what? Yes. Thank you for that shrewd observation, Caitiff. Exhibiting no discernible lineage, the Caitiffs are vampires without a clan. Distrusted by their peers, they are scorned because of their lack of lineage, but also feared for their unpredictability. Jacks of all trades, but master of none. Each pander makes their own way in the society of the damned, free from ancestry and expectations, both. Huh. Okay. So you have some thin-bloodish quirks about you. Your eyes are two different colors. She hurls those words like she's spitting venom. Whatever the opposite of sympathy is, she's brimming with it. Wait, caitiff? Esteemed council, I give you the troublesome ravenous neonate, or neonite. I gather you all desire a swift resolution to this matter, especially given her reluctance to cooperate. As if on cue, every eye shifts to me. I'm not one to buckle under stage fright, but this silent ostracism is on a whole new level. In this room, I'm on my own. I understand the formal necessity of addressing all this, as well as my role in the matter. However, there are more pressing concerns demanding attention, far more pressing. Shall we discard all traditions too, while we're at it? We've pirouetted, or whatever the word is, around the Hudson problem for more than a year, yet progress remains as stale as our debate. Certainly a few additional moments to honor the very laws you spearhead so vigorously couldn't hurt, could they? The Hudson is a completely different beast, as you're well aware. We need to address the locust swarm engulfing New York before Camarilla's entire framework crumbles beneath its weight. And how does that sit with you, Payne? Just last night, two Dustborn and a fledgling from your clan were reduced to ashes, and we're still in the dark about who's pulling the strings. Shouldn't that worry you more than policing the purity of the red market? The old guy's servant steps forward, all awkward and rigid. In principle, I agree, Sheriff. However, should we continue to disregard even minor infractions, we broadcast a message of vulnerability. Vulnerability threatens our efforts within and beyond our borders, efforts we plan to carry on without interruption once the locust swarm, as you've termed it, is eradicated. Oh, there's the main chick from the last game. Yeah, she was interesting. Also, on this side, she's very scary. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I'm inclined to agree with Gramps on this one. We can't simply let something like that slip through the cracks without taking proper measures. So you've assumed the role of his advocate now. Quite the bold ascent up the ladder of your own making. What's next on the horizon? Another hostile... Enough already. An awkward silence falls over the room, but it seems more about customs than actual respect. Guess we're all just creatures of habit, undead or alive. Let's focus on the sheriff. He's avoiding eye contact with me, which you typically read as a weakness, but it's far from that. In fact, he's ice cold and focused. His gaze meeting mine might be the last thing I see before bidding farewell to my undead existence. But there's something deeper. He appears untamed, like a wolf in an ambush, perfectly still yet poised to tear into anyone foolish enough to trigger his fury. When the prince finally manages to speak, her voice lacks the confidence you'd anticipate from someone at the helm. We're all here for the same reason you are, Aisling. Or am I mistaken and you forgot where your loyalties lie? Even now, as she turns to me, her presence is weighed down. Not that I care. My head's on the chopping block and she's the one calling the shots on whether it stays put or rolls off. Now, let's put this issue to rest here and now. Strive for brevity, Sheriff. Understood. The weight of his gaze is enough for me to lower my shoulders. Whatever comes, it's not going to be pretty. Callie of Clan Ravenos, you stand accused of violating the New York Camarilla's praxis, infringing on the tradition of hospitality, and endangering the Masquerade, among other things. Well, shit. Wait, on what grounds? Drop the act. There's a wealth of evidence in that recreational vehicle of yours, most of it confirming the suspicions we've been harboring over the recent months. Petty theft from our subjects, impersonation of other kindred, lineage forgery. Need I go on? Okay, guilty. But when did they start caring? It's not like I'm the only one dipping my toes into the oceans of misdemeanors. At least they don't know about our artifact gig. But your involvement in large-scale blood and mortal trafficking, outside of our scrutiny and the jurisdiction of the circulatory system, is all obvious as it is dangerous to the stability of our domain. Large-scale my ass. We hardly move anything through New York. Definitely not enough to impact their operations. Plus, we're super careful. Especially with your clientele often being in direct hostility to our interests, as Primogen Payne was kind enough to confirm. Seriously, this can't be right. We always check our clients. Well, Reynard does, but is this some twisted way to set an example? Are they playing the undead IRS? What is their game, really? While some might chalk this up to colossal stupidity, I'm neither so forgiving nor tolerant of fraudsters who respect nothing but their own gain. I'm not blind to the fact that Raynard's completely MIA in this whole story. He's the big cheese, the head honcho of the entire affair, though calling it an affair might be giving it too much credit. So why are they making it out like I'm the mastermind behind some global crime syndicate? This is not the time to be quiet, Raven. Let's see. Let's use... I'm not your scapegoat. And my hunger increases again. Obviously, you found something. How could you not when you're the one who planted it there to begin with? Careful, Icarus. I've watched the Exonerated. I know the drill. Look, I get you need someone to pin this on, but you've got the wrong... Out of nowhere, something pierces my mind, shredding its defenses to dust. It's like my head's been turned inside out, exposing my every thought for their amusement. I whip my head toward the source of the eerie sensation, and boom, there's Kadir, the freaking sheriff with those piercing eyes, slicing through my layers of BS like it's cake. I earnestly hope you're not taking me for a fool. That would be a misstep of monumental proportions, unlike anything these walls have witnessed. I get a glimpse of Aisling out of the corner of my eye, silently mouthing the words that look suspiciously like, I beg to differ. Right then, a curved sword appears in Kadir's hand, as though he just pulled it straight from thin air. Or maybe I'm just going nuts. Honestly, I'd be totally shitting my pants right now if that part of me wasn't offline. I'm not here for your games, little Raven. Choose your next words carefully. I'd argue this utter lunacy clears her of charges. She couldn't even cobble together a feeble story, much less orchestrate clandestine trading of this magnitude, and yarn spinning is supposed to be your clan's forte, isn't it? Last chance, my dear. Is there anything of substance you wish to add? Holy shit. This can't be really happening, right? What's my move? What would Reynard do? Reynard, if he had the decency to pop up or at least toss me a fucking heads up, I wouldn't be knee-deep in this disaster. Is he really in trouble? Or what if he bailed on me? Got a hint that the Camarilla was breathing down his neck and decided I'm the perfect scapegoat. Nah, that doesn't sound like him. But why target me and not Reynard? Sure, he's gone now, but could they really be that clueless about him? I'm totally lost, but I do know what he would probably do. His move would be to look out for number one, spill the beans more than necessary to buy some time. Time is gold, and with enough of it, maybe there's a chance to wriggle out of this mess. It's all or nothing now. Hit the jackpot or end up porcupine with stakes. Guess there's not much point in playing dumb, huh? Couldn't agree more. Game on. All right then. So I indeed am tangled up in this little blood trafficking operation, playing a pretty crucial part if I do say so myself, though I guess not everyone's on board with that assessment. I do the logistics, pushing merchandise through a series of dark web channels. Every eyebrow in the room goes up, except for the cigarette aficionado in the back, who lets out a slight smirk. I mean, a little controlled drama never hurts in a short con. All totally secure and anonymous. No slips about, our thing. Everything masked by the hustle of more mundane black markets. No way we're blowing the Masquerade. We deal in stored blood, as you might have caught on. Not just any blood, though. Our merch is a little jazzed up. Thaumaturgically enhanced, to be exact. It's the only way they'd work, as you're well aware. I am, but that's not for you to find out. Right, of course. Oh, and we also deal in, let's just call them family treasures. But honestly, that's more like a side gig than anything serious. But we're extremely careful about picking our clients and really thorough when it comes to making deals. The traditions and all. I'm sure we'd never even come close to breaking them. At least that's what he led me to believe. I had a hunch there was some dodgy dealings in his more secret ventures. To deny that would be a flat out lie. But let's be real. I'm way outside the inner circle to have a real sway in those parts of his enterprise. For a brief moment, an uneasy silence sweeps over the room. His enterprise? Is this a joke? Exactly who is this he you're referring to? I give it my all to appear as blameless as possible. I presumed you knew it was my sire who's masterminding it all. The room's heavy silence is soon filled with hushed whispers following my revelation. Good. If fortune is on my side, I might just live to see another moonrise. Indeed, how fortuitous. And your sire would be? There's only one other notable rogue in the city who comes to mind. Someone dipping in and out, known for their shifty nature, of which I was somewhat aware. Renard Cassell. You nailed it, Chief. Sir. Another brief moment of silence gets interrupted by the girl in the black, who addresses the sheriff. I can practically hear the cogs turning in your head, Kadir. What's your take on it? Truth be told, it does add up, though I had him pegged more as a con artist than a trafficker. Then why hasn't he been apprehended yet, Sheriff? Are you secretly endorsing activities that impede the circulatory system's operations? For your own good, Payne, I'll pretend I didn't catch that, but would you care to question my dedication to our cause again? Be warned, my patience wears extremely thin these nights. Can we put this bickering on hold, at least for the moment? An opportunity staring me in the face. How can I resist squeezing myself right into it? One more thing. Raynard and I had meetings lined up with a client a few hours back, but he never showed up. In the whole year and a half I've been in this gig, he's never just vanished like this. And what do you make of it? Now, with the floodgates of truth wide open, it's time to dive into the art of lying my ass off. To be honest, I'm not sure, but now that I think of it, he's changed over the past month. Became a lot more erratic than usual. Ready for my theory? I'm pretty sure he caught wind of your lot and decided to feed me to the flames while he made a run for it. Whether they're swallowing my story or they're just tired of my presence, it feels like I'm nudging things the way I want them. Not everyone's convinced, though. An unwitting pawn betrayed by her master. A likely story. Suitable for the stage, indeed. But in this context... Podrick. Like from Game of Thrones? Okay. He said, if I may... Damn it, Podrick, don't go getting yourself into... Baron's warning arrives a bit too late. Instantly, the others shift their focus, fixing their eyes on the caitiff with unmistakable hostility. It's clear they're not exactly fond of him. Since you've already disrupted the proceedings, you might as well say your piece, mediator. Very well then, I'm inclined to believe her, at least in the aspects most significant to the interests of our allies. Thanks, you mysterious weirdo. As ever, your assertion remains devoid of substance. My guy's advice is pretty much always on point. His track record speaks for itself. The sheriff has a point that seems to hold water. Her sire might just be the one at fault. She is essentially a non-entity, is she not? A nobody that slipped under the radar until, by a stroke of sheer bad luck, she got caught red-handed. Do excuse the pun. When you give it another look, the evidence you have collected should indeed back up that claim quite convincingly. And what grounds your intricate evaluation precisely? My judgment is shaped by your vast experience and simply tempered by reasoning and intuition. It changes little regarding the consequences she must face for her complicity in her sire's crimes. It's do or die. How about I serve you Reynard's head on a silver platter in exchange for mine, unscathed on my shoulders? Kadar's stare pins me under silent disapproval, but he lets me, as the curly-haired asshole put it, spin my yarn. I know all his secret spots in this town, plus the spots he wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. I'm wired into his network, his contacts. I've got his playbook down, and I can stay one step ahead of him with ease. Just give me a chance, and we will all be thanking our lucky stars by the end. They slip into a quiet introspection. Maybe there's just playing a round of mental chess, trying to read each other's minds without uttering a word. I have reservations about this daring proposition. Consider the potential fallout if this entire situation spirals out of control. Kadir throws up his hand, clearly overdealing with my case. Capturing this whelp proved hardly a challenge. I wouldn't sweat the idea of catching her again. What's more, entrusting her with Cassell resolves two issues at once. It swiftly eliminates her presence and enables us to prioritize genuine concerns. But someone has to keep a constant watch over her. Valerie, perhaps. One of yours. A batshit crazy idea burst into my mind. The kind of gamble that could either turn out brilliantly or spectacularly implode. Let the dice roll. How about him? I jabbed my finger toward the quiet caitiff. Podrick, was it? His expression shifts to one of utter confusion as he catches the subtle smirk of the council members. Surely you're not considering. This could play out quite favorably, I must admit. Quite favorably indeed. Holy shit, it actually worked. Very well. Podrick Conroy, I hereby appoint you as the agent caretaker for this ravenous neonite. I hate to break it to you, Sheriff, but this call is out of your turf. He's with us, Anarchs, and you know it well enough. You know, he kind of looks like Lakeith Stanfield. Random thought. Technically, when he took on the whole peacemaker role for our cliques, he acquired a level of neutrality. So, yeah. Kadir redirects his gaze to the caitiff. Your responsibility is to ensure she fulfills the assignment within 4 nights, starting now. Any slip-ups on her end will reflect on your record as well. Do we have an understanding? 4 nights. Not a whole lot, but better than nothing. Podrick's resigned nod mirrors exactly how I feel. Now, back to where we were. Their sudden disinterest in me is a clear get out of here signal. Seems like I've managed to slide from one pit to another. But hey, I've brought myself a little time. And in my world, that's precious currency. Unless, of course, that caitiff turns out to be a wild card. All right. So we managed to get out of there in one piece through lying and such. I will say, though, just off the rip, again, very linear. But again, I will say, just kind of following from Shadows of New York, it does feel like the writing is much better. I don't necessarily mind a visual novel kind of feel to certain games where you just have a couple choices and that's really all there is, as long as it's good writing. The first one was just not good writing, so all right, up in the air. I've bought myself some time to find Reynard and scram out of this city before the Camarilla catches on. The only trouble is the caitiff's tick clinging onto my back, which honestly is kind of my own fault. I need to figure out how to shake him off. Okay. We might not need air to nourish our vitae, but I still let out a sigh of relief when the doors to Elysium slammed shut behind us. Talk about a screw of entitled assholes holed up in their ivory tower, sneering at Kendrick just scraping by to make it dead ends meet. I hope they get a nice sharp stake to the foot. But hey, it's all good. My golden words and silver tongue managed to buy me some time to find Reynard and get the hell out of Dodge before those clowns catch on that we've already hit the West Coast. The only hiccup for now is keep making that face at me and it might just stick that way. Oh yeah? I pinch my lips together and squint for good measure. What, are we reverting to playground tactics now? Hush, I'm concentrating on blowing up your brain with my mind. If it keeps you quiet, by all means, keep trying. I shoot him a defiant glare and whirl around, his exasperated sigh chasing after me. Be what may, this Kato's ticks gotta go. Look, the sun's about to rise. We can pick up this little dance of ours again tomorrow night, okay? Let's get moving. My haven isn't even in this part of town. Hold up. What do you mean, your haven? Alright, hear me out. I get that this whole thing is a bit of a pain for the both of us. Trust me, I have no more desire to mind you than you have to be minded. But let's rewind for a second. You were the one who picked me out at Elysium and got us both into this mess. If I let you out of my sight, things will get proper unpleasant for me. And believe me, I'm speaking from experience. But you will be torn to shreds by Kadir's hounds before you could say, oops. They'll sniff you out sooner rather than later. That is a stone cold fact. So how about we skip the theatrics and you tag along to a place I know is safe. We can regroup and figure out our next move come nightfall. He stops mid-sentence. Fingers crossed for whatever is the kindred version of a stroke. Maybe I could slip away and get to my RV. No, your RV is completely off the table. My RV is just fine. The fuck's wrong with my RV? Valerie took her sweet time turning it inside out. Plus, the spot you chose for parking isn't exactly the epitome of safety, putting it mildly. It's a fortress on wheels, steel shutters and everything. It's kept me from turning to ash so far, hasn't it? Why does its parking spot suddenly matter? Believe me, these nights, locations is everything. He stays silent for a moment, likely thinking he's gained the upper hand in our verbal spar. I still count it as my win. Nevertheless, he starts yapping again soon after. In any case, we need a place to rest and my haven is the safest choice. I'd really hate to resort to violence, but don't presume I won't drag you there if the need arises. It's your call. You know, I gotta say, I think during the main game, I would probably play as him. I remember seeing the trailer for this and thinking, like, nah, I wasn't gonna play as this guy, but I kinda like him. Every time I don't get a say, it somehow turns into be my call. Come on, what do you think I'll do? Run away? Obviously. Oh, ye of little faith. Would I try to bail on you on Christmas night? You sticking around might just count as a true holiday miracle. And no, I don't bank on holiday miracles. If you are under the impression I'll let you out of my sight, then you are not paying attention. Come, let's not dilly-dally. Dilly-dally? They embrace him in a Dickens novel? Talk about being charming. All right, after you. Stubborn as I am, it turns out Mr. Thin and Mean over there is just as immovable. Arguing seems futile. Time for a different approach. I toss him a thoughtful glance, noticing him leisurely fiddling with one of those ugly rings adorning every conceivable part of his hands. What a jerk. My coterie would eat him alive, but I can deal with him on my own just fine. All I need is a little bit of inspiration. Let's play the beast card. I spy with my little eye a handful of mortals daring to navigate the frosty streets. Many of them stagger along on the frozen sidewalks, whether from ice or generous helpings of alcohol they've indulged in earlier. It's quite the tempting scene. I'm not exactly famished. I managed to grab a bite on the road before hitting New York, but the Kato's in the dark about that, and honestly, I'm pretty skilled at acting the part of the hungry predator, if I do say so myself. I halt abruptly, allowing a series of convulsive twitches to seize me. What's with the drama now? I'm feeling off, haven't fed in a bit. It's starting to get to me. I don't think I can handle it much longer. You're telling me you cannot endure for a few more hours? No, with my clan, hunger hits differently. It's swift and merciless. It's just how we are. Been there once, never want to go back. He shoots me a look filled with skepticism, but I just mimic a shiver, my body quaking as if I'm starved. Yeah, I'm lying all right, but he doesn't know that. Ravenos are a rare sight, practically unheard of around here, or anywhere really. So in his eyes, my performance could very well be genuine. To further my agenda, I press a hand to my temple, my eyes tracking a solitary figure puffing away in a nearby nook. Had that Valerie skank not blindsided me, well, I might have. Right, enough. Just make it quick. I'll stay close just in case. We make our way toward the isolated figure. Podrick positions himself to block any escape. While I face our target, the guy blows out a cloud of smoke, his eyes dazed, mumbling under his breath. Sorry, pal. I lean in as if I wanted to give him the kiss, but instead I push him hard, sending him stumbling straight into Podrick's open arms. And just like that, the guy topples to the ground, while the caitiff somehow remains upright despite being thrown off balance. It's my cue to seize the moment and zoom away in the opposite direction, pushing my legs as fast as they'll go. I have no idea where I'm going, but solitude sounds perfect right now. Even after everything tonight, it looks like I am on a roll. Must be that ravenous charm working its magic. I instantly regret my choice the moment I dash into an alleyway. A dodgy crew handling crates that seem to be filled with combat gear snaps their attention towards me the moment I make my entrance. And they've seen my inhuman speed. Shit. Caleb, look. Oh, come on. What did I ever do to you, Lady Luck, to jinx me like that? Squad, to your positions. They begin to circle me, exchanging nods. It's only then I notice their tactical gear and the unmistakable outline of wooden stakes. Is this the infamous Special Affairs Division? Seriously, fuck my unlife. Renner was spot on. I'm always too quick to pop the champagne. Oh shit, so I'm guessing this is the Inquisition? Also called SAD, the FBI division is committed to neutralizing the Kindred threat. SAD uses its influence in law enforcement and extensive case files for anti-Kindred activities, usually using finesse and detective work to get their targets. They have a large collection of mystical artifacts they are reluctant to share. Commandeered Kindred assets give them impressive economic freedom from other federal entities, known collectively as the Second Inquisition. Oh God. All right. Back off, would you? This isn't going to end well for you. Shut your filthy gob, leech. He whips out a stake to compensate for his shaky tone. I'm not one for head-on combat, but it's way past the time for cunning. From the sides, now. They come at me all at once with an attack surprisingly uncoordinated for such a well-equipped team. That disarray is the only reason I may survive this. As a flash of heat surges through me, their movement seems to slow down. I grab the first one by the arm as he swings a knife at me, driving my nails into his armpit. Everything turns a shade of red I find disturbingly pleasant. Next, I leap and spin, taking the squeaky girl down with a kick that leaves her neck at a grotesque angle, her body crumpling to the ground. Their leader waves his stake in a hesitation, searching for an opening. Bring it on, you undead whore. I don't give him the chance. In an instant, I'm at his throat, tearing and ripping. His blood washes over my skin like a hot shower. It feels comforting. As the chaos fades, there I am, perfectly unharmed amid the carnage swept up in the rush of victory. Tonight is definitely my night. But then reality strikes, quite literally. Knocked into my knees and suddenly dazed, I scramble to get up. I need to get out before the caitiff catches up. As I try to rise, a kick sends me sprawling. Another thug, one that I missed, sits on top of me, stake in hand, aimed straight at my heart. I react instantly, bucking my hips and reaching for his elbow, ready to tear and rip, but I can't. And I don't have to. Suddenly, hands encircle the thug's neck, twisting in a complete circle, reminiscent of some horror movie. Ow. He drops beside me, lifeless, as the caitiff casually retrieves the steak. So, hunger took you out, huh? Piss off. I believe thank you is the phrase you're looking for. You should be glad I caught up to you so quickly. He extends his hand with grace, and there's a part of me itching to grab it, to pull at it, and literally take him down a peg. But I let the moment pass. The brawls worn me out, and dawn's creeping up on us. I refuse his help, pushing myself up with a mix of pride and fatigue. Why don't you hold on to that steak? Consider it a memento of the time you nearly got taken out by a few hunters and needed my intervention. A slice of humble pie, if you will. I tucked the steak into my belt bag, feeling more awkward about it than I care to show. For the record, I had it under control. But wait, hunters? Of course. You didn't seriously think it was the SAD, did you? He let out a chuckle, the first one I've heard from him. It feels out of place, I think. Do not take it personally, but if it were the SAD you were up against, you'd have been taken out before you even realized there was a threat. They're too well organized, too professional. These guys, however... He sweeps his hand around, gesturing towards the fallen hunters. Well, they haven't quite mastered the element of surprise. Still running into that many in one place. Kadir mentioned something about a locust swarm back at Elysium, but come on, twice in one night? That's more than just bad luck. Indeed, New York is nowhere near as safe for our kind as it once was. This is not your typical hunter behavior. It's an anomaly, and its source is still unknown. Until we figure it out, I strongly advise against sprinting like a demented cheetah, biting whatever's within arm's reach, or showing off your unique powers. For your own safety, assume you're under constant surveillance. Choose your moments wisely. It's the second time I'm hearing this kind of warning tonight. Maybe I should actually start paying attention. And you might want to rethink your attempts to ditch me. I might not arrive in time to save you the next time you get in trouble. The next time? He seems to have me all figured out. Alright, maybe sticking with you might have some benefits. Am I hearing things, or was that a compliment? Don't let it go to your head, and don't expect a repeat. Now, about that haven of yours. Alright. So we have two things. Stranger in the night. In New York City, you can never know when you'll bump into the king of all douchebags. But honestly, it feels like it happens every goddamn time you step foot outside. Okay, and then there's where caitiff lies low. The sun's about to rise, and I've had more than enough for one night. All I need is to sink into the deep, dark void of rest, and tonight, Podrick's Haven is the place to be. So, okay, so this is a detour, so we can go ahead and do that then. And I got some awareness from the hunters. Silence usually doesn't bother me. It's often a chance to collect my scattered thoughts, which, let's be honest, are usually all over the damn place. It can also be a big, flashy sign that I fucked up, that I've got to scramble to bounce back from the mess I made. But this kind of silence, oh, this is some golden opportunity right there. One in which I throw in the towel, stop giving a shit, and just enjoy watching the lanky one squirm like he's got an army of invisible fists going to town on his brain. Of course, it doesn't last. Not with that oddball in the distance eyeing us. Christ, check out that guy. Huh? That bootleg Wesley Snipes right there. Look. I toss a subtle glance towards the guy decked out in black, but the longer I stare, the more I think, oh shit. You think he's one of them? A hunter? What? Of course not. I mean, I get that the group we dealt with wasn't exactly a think tank, but out here, in broad nightlight, and dressed like a walking cliche? He rattles it off so fast, I almost suspect he's trying to distract me. It's just a stranger in the night. Pay him no mind. Yeah, sure. My stranger danger sense That skin-crawling sensation of an unfamiliar presence getting too close hasn't dulled since I was embraced, and now I've got better defenses than mere pepper spray. But the sleazy way he looks at me as we cross paths, it's disgustingly indescribable. And then he speaks. Oh damn, he is like really going for the whole blade thing. Evening, ma'am. There's something eerie about the tone of his voice. I nod automatically and shoot Podrick a wary look. He signals to keep walking. Mr. Conroy, evening to you. Quite the night, eh? Fuck, this isn't just some rando then. The way he drops Podrick's last name stops us in our tracks, like he cast a binding spell. Quite the night indeed. We're kinda in a rush though. I see. I'll be brief then. Mr. Conroy, your obligations. I'm here on behalf of our shared acquaintance, gently reminding you of what's at stake. The circumstances rapidly change, as you're aware, I'm sure. The smugness in his voice is grating enough to make me grind my teeth, but surprisingly, it's Podrick who loses his cool, not me. His tone gets abrasive, a side of him I've never seen before, but then I've known him 3 hours tops. I'm well aware, and don't you worry about passing that along. I've managed without a proxy so far, and I don't plan on needing one now. Regrettably, that's not up to you to decide. Ease up, man. Jesus, man, are you gunning for MVP in the douchebag leagues? Cut it out. This doesn't concern you, whelp. It gives me this vile once-over that makes me immediately wish I kept my face shut. The urge to lay into him is stronger than my common sense, though. Oh, fuck. Let it go, Callie. I'm not done here, and clearly this asshole isn't either, judging by his puffed-up chest. But suddenly, he's all chill, like we didn't just have a moment. Enjoy the night, Mr. Conroy, ma'am. Then he locks eyes with me. Better watch out for dingy alleys. They're crawling with vermin, as you already know. His words echo in my mind as we head towards Podrick's safe house. At first I thought it was a threat, but now I'm not so sure. How the fuck does he know? Does gossip really spread around that quickly here? Who the hell was that? Just an old contact of mine, nothing to worry about. Right, and how the fuck did he know about our run-in with the hunters? I don't know, Callie, okay? Maybe he took a wild guess. It's not exactly a stretch to run into trouble here, especially now. Especially with you around. He's clearly shaken by the whole thing. How intriguing. Look, I'm sorry. It's probably nothing to lose sleep over. Let's just get moving, all right? I give a nod. Not like there's much choice, with him being all jitters and no candor. Looks like my dear Caitiff's sitting on a pile of secrets. Considering the vibe of that jackass we just dealt with, the mind reels at the possibilities. But then again, what are we if not the secrets we keep? Okay, so just a little run-in. And probably a detour we shouldn't have took. I wonder if it's a game over if we get the two in these sections, or does it like trigger a fight or something like that? The walk feels endlessly long. I try to focus on the task of locating Reynard, but my thoughts just won't line up. Definitely not a promising end to the night. Before I know it, we're already there. This is our stop. Let's head inside. Dawn is nearly upon us. He steps through the door first, but leaves it open for me. I see it as a slight sign of trust, or maybe I'm just too exhausted to be on the lookout for tricks. Home sweet home. Peeking into a kindred's haven is kind of like trying to read their diary, assuming they have one, of course. Our van, which I share with my coterie, might tell a story of covert operations, daring escapes, and tight-knit camaraderie, for those with a flair for drama, that is. To anyone else, it could just seem like a mobile hideout for a few smugglers. Granted, I haven't exactly been a guest in many havens, but this one? It's practically shouting it's a love affair with books and a certain, let's say, relaxed approach to tidiness. And that's Podrick probably didn't expect to have company. Like, ever. Every inch of it is covered in books, papers, and random notes, a wild mosaic of ideas, from the mundane to the outright unhinged. I swear, there are even scribbles on napkins in the mix. Podrick seems a little bit flustered that I caught his haven in such disarray. He rushes to clean up, picking up an armful of paper along the way. Make yourself at home. The couch is all yours. Check out his book collection. Among the clutter, a vast collection of James Joyce stands out, surrounded by other books that feel more like homework than leisure reading. Podrick's choice in literature, definitely on the no fun side. The stack of papers he's clutching is kept under wraps and impossible to read, but the ones littering the rest of the space, they're up for grabs. I stretch my neck to get a closer look, ditching any attempt to be sneaky, only to find some disjointed snippets about history, voices, oracles, and the like. I shoot him a disappointed frown, only to be met with his painfully blank gaze. Clearly, someone's got their poker face down pat. A history buff? Don't take this the wrong way, but you totally give off that vibe. Why would I take it the wrong way? Dunno. Thought maybe you'd take it as an insult or something. Would it be a far-fetched notion if I thought so? Yeah, I guess you have a point. He gives me a slight smile. It's not exactly brimming with joy, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Get some rest. We've got a busy night ahead of us. It's hard to put up a fight against common sense, especially when you're running on empty. I give him a vague wave, settle onto the couch amid a few stray papers, and let myself sink into the deep, dark void of rest. A few hours prior. The steady drone of machinery blends with the aroma of ancient dust and robust alchemy, conjuring a palpable atmosphere that teases the senses. It's a relentless reminder of the raw power in action, a sensation that never leaves you, no matter how far away you go. Is it a common theme across Tremere Labs, or did she add a personal twist just for my sake? Bah, that's beside the point tonight. Tonight, the stakes are sky high. No room for getting sidetracked. I'm only going to ask this once. You do understand all the specifics, correct? The procedure and the risks that come with it. My gaze drifts down to my necklace, the symbol of my cause. I nod in silent agreement. Make no mistake, should you attempt to violate our arrangement, I have my methods to track you down. Believe me, that would be far less pleasant than what's coming next. Let's just get this over with, shall we? I'm instantly hit with pain so intense it feels like my flesh is being torn asunder, and no matter how much I try, I can't black out for even the briefest moment of blissful reprieve. My consciousness clings on, as stubborn as I am, as if making me pay for my plentiful sins, or paving the road for the new ones to come. But the agony is worth it, and so is the prize that's coming after. What the hell was that? So, are we playing multiple characters, or is it just this is a very unreliable narrator? Huh. I am intrigued. So yeah, again, as I mentioned more in the middle of the demo, this was more of a linear affair, which again, I'm definitely not against a linear affair as long as it's a great story in the process. That's what I got the feeling when I played Shadows of New York. And honestly, there were parts of the first game that were pretty interesting too. But yeah, I'm really getting that feeling that this is going to be a linear affair, but it's going to be an interesting story too in the process. When I play it, I'll probably just go ahead and not have on any of the hunter stuff and things like that, just because it doesn't seem like it really does a whole lot. I mean, you do have to think a little bit more about your choices, but it just kind of seems unnecessary. I think I would just prefer playing this like a visual novel and just letting the chips fall where they're made with that. But yeah, this is interesting. I really do enjoy this, and I do need to play more of these games. I do know that they have quite a few choice of games. There's Night Road, there's Parliament of Knives, there's I think it's the Sinner something or whatever. So yeah, and I do believe I have all of those on my phone, because that's typically where I play all the choice of games and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely want to check out more of this, and I honestly, I really do need to just watch Vampire the Masquerade or play it myself. I have always wanted to play that game. It's one of the first things that I got when I got myself a pretty decent gaming PC. And actually, I think I got it when I got my other gaming PC that I started with or whatever. So it's something that I've really, really wanted to do. So I might just play it on the channel. You know, guys, let me know what you think. You know, maybe I'll just go ahead and play it on the channel. Or, you know, I could just, again, play it in my own spare time. But yeah, I enjoyed this, and I definitely will check out the whole thing. Maybe I can play, yeah, maybe I can do something like that. Maybe I can play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, and then go ahead and play, of course, some of the other more obscure games. I know there was, what was it, Vampire the Masquerade, I want to say like Swan Song, yeah. That was the other one. I think it's made by the people that made The Council. I was very intrigued by that. But yeah, I want to check that out also because it seemed interesting. Again, I really do love the lore with this universe. It's just the games have been very janky, aside from what I've only really ever heard good things about Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 1. All the other ones, including the ones that I've played, you know, they've been kind of mixed and back and forth and stuff like that. But yeah, maybe I'll go ahead and just start journeying down the path of playing all of these. So yeah, let me know what you think about that, because I do have some things planned as far as what's coming next. I'll just go ahead and let that out now and say that one game that I do want to play is Dragon Age, and I want to do the entire series because Dragon Age the Veilguard is coming out later on this year. And yeah, I'm a huge Dragon Age fan. It is one of the most pivotal game series in my life as far as games go. It's definitely had a huge impact on my life. So I would definitely like to turn around and play that on the channel and kind of share that with everyone. And I will most likely be bringing my wife along with that. So we've already done one episode, and she really enjoys it. She would like to jump into the series, and she want to jump into the lore because, you know, she definitely loves fantasy and stuff like that. So that will be coming up pretty soon, but I want to get a couple episodes out because that's going to be a massive undertaking. So that's going to be some long videos and stuff like that, but that's coming. It's on the way. But yeah, let me know what you think about possibly playing the Vampire the Masquerade series. I'm definitely down to do it. I think my PC should be more than capable of turning around and playing that, and you know, I have all the stuff that's necessary. So I'm down for it. If you guys are down for it, just let me know. But anywho, if you like the video, like the video. If you would like to see more content like this, subscribe. I have a lot of things on the channel, and I will have many other things in the future. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave it in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.